Have you ever looked at a freshly painted room and just thought, wow, that looks perfect? You know, that flawless, professional finish? Well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The magic isn't in the paint, it's in the prep. And today, we're going to absolutely master the single most important part of any paint job, getting those walls ready.
So here's how we're going to do it. First, we're going to get our mindset right. Then, we'll dive into the nitty-gritty, from protecting your room to cleaning, repairing, and sanding. We'll finish up with the one step you can't skip, priming, and I'll give you a master checklist so you can nail it every single time. Let's jump in. All right, Section 1. Before we touch a single tool, we need to talk about the philosophy, the one core idea that's going to make or break your entire project.
And here it is. This is the golden rule, you guys. You have to burn this into your brain. Paint doesn't hide your mistakes. It puts a giant spotlight on them. Every little crack, every tiny bump you decide to ignore, trust me, it's going to scream at you once that new color is on the wall. Think of this prep work not as a chore, but as the foundation for a finish you'll actually be proud of.
Okay, mindset is locked in. Now for the fun part, the actual physical work. The very first thing we have to do is turn our room into a clean zone, protecting everything we don't want covered in paint.
The trick here is to work from big to small. So start with the big stuff. Get all the furniture out of the room if you can. If not, push it all into the center and cover it up really well. Next, you're going to strip the walls. And I mean everything. Pictures, shelves, outlet covers, switch plates. Finally, you get to the detail work, taping. Take your time here. A clean tape line is a beautiful thing.
And these are the tools for the job. You'll want some plastic sheeting for your furniture and good, heavy-duty drop cloths for the floor. Don't cheap out on these. Now for painter's tape, look for something that says medium or low tack. That's the key to making sure you don't peel off the paint you actually want to keep when you're done. And of course, a few screwdrivers will be your best friend. Okay, stop. Listen up. This is, without a doubt, the most important safety tip in this entire explainer. Before a screwdriver even gets near an outlet or a light switch, you need to go to your circuit breaker and shut off the power to that room. No excuses. This is absolutely non-negotiable. So, the room is protected, it's safe, and now we can finally turn our attention to the star of the show, the wall itself. We can't just slap a new coat of paint over years of life. It's time to get this surface perfectly clean and ready for a fresh start. Here's your order of operations. First, anything that's loose has to go. Got old wallpaper? It's time to say goodbye. See any peeling or flaking paint? Scrape it off until you're down to a solid surface. Then, grab a vacuum and get all that loose dust and debris. Finally, give the wall a good wash, especially in a kitchen or bathroom where you can get grease and grime buildup. A little bit of mild detergent and some water is all you need. And now for a step that costs you nothing but a little patience. After you wash that wall, you have to let it get bone dry. I mean completely, totally dry. If you try to paint on a wall that's even a little bit damp, you're trapping that moisture. And you know what that leads to? Bubbles and peeling paint. Just give it time. It's so worth the wait. All right, here's a pro tip that'll save you from a total disaster. You know those small gaps you see around your trim or window frames? You want to fill those, but you have to use the right stuff. Always, always use a paintable acrylic sealant. Why? Because your paint will stick to it perfectly. If you accidentally use silicone sealant, well, silicone repels water, and your paint is water-based. It's like trying to mix oil and water. The paint will literally run away from it, leaving you with a sticky, horrible mess. Okay, our wall is clean, it's dry, and all our little gaps are filled. Now it's time to make it perfectly, beautifully smooth. This is where we create that flawless canvas. So first, run your hand over the wall. Feel for any dings, old nail holes, or cracks you might have missed. Fill those with a good quality filler and a putty knife. Let it dry, and then sand just those spots until they feel completely flush with the rest of the wall. Oh, and here's a big one. If the paint that's already on your wall has any kind of shine or gloss to it, you'll want to give the entire wall a very light sanding. This scuffs up the surface and gives your new paint something to grab onto. You don't need super coarse sandpaper for this. Your sweet spot is going to be a fine grit, somewhere in the P120 to P180 range. This is aggressive enough to smooth out the filler, but not so rough that it's going to tear up the wallboard around it.
So you've finished sanding, and everything feels smooth, but now your wall is covered in a super fine layer of dust, and that dust is your #1 enemy. You've got to get rid of every last particle. Use a vacuum with a brush attachment or a slightly damp cloth, because if you paint over that dust, you're basically mixing sand into your paint. You'll feel that gritty texture forever.
We are so close. We've cleaned, we've repaired, we've sanded. The wall is a perfect, dust-free canvas. It is time for the final and honestly the most crucial step of our prep work, priming.
I know. This is the step everyone is tempted to skip. You're thinking, can I just do an extra coat of paint? It seems like a great way to save time and money, right? Wrong. It is probably the single biggest mistake you can make in a paint job. So what's the big deal? What does primer actually do?
Think of primer as the ultimate problem solver. First, it gives your paint a perfect surface to stick to, so no peeling. Second, it seals and strengthens any of those repairs you made. Third, and this is huge, it creates a uniform base. That means your final color will look even and rich, not all blotchy. And get this, by doing all that, it actually means you use less of your expensive top coat paint. So skipping primer doesn't even save you money in the long run.
And just like when we wash the wall, you have to let the primer do its thing. Let it dry completely. Every can of primer will tell you how long you need to wait before you can paint over it. Read it and stick to it. Don't sabotage all of your hard work by getting impatient right at the finish line. Whew, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil it all down into one simple, easy-to-use checklist that you can pull out for any paint project you tackle from now on.
And here it is, your whole roadmap on one screen. The key points to remember: safety first. Always de-energize the room. Patience is everything. Let the wall dry completely after you wash it. Be smart with your materials. Use the right paintable sealant. Be meticulous. Get rid of all the dust after sanding. And the big one, do not skip primer. You follow these steps, and I promise you're going to get a result that looks like a pro did it.
So there you have it. That's the real process behind a truly flawless paint job. It's all in the prep. But as you can see, even within these steps, there are levels to it. We mentioned using filler, for instance. But did you know there are different types for a tiny hairline crack versus a deep gouge in the wall? Choosing the right one is a whole other game, and getting that choice right, well, that's where you really start to separate yourself from the amateurs.